Way back in my general thoughts video on Smash Bros, I said I don't like fighting games, and guess what? I still don't. I think that a lot of them demand a ludicrous amount of time and effort from you to achieve any success, and I have better things to do than break my fingers trying to spin a joystick in a certain way. But that said, there are exceptions to everything in this world, and Guilty Gear Strive is an exception to my general dislike of fighting games. I'm not entirely sure what it is about it. Maybe it's because it's made as a good jumping on point. Maybe it's because the characters feel incredibly diverse and unique. Maybe it's because a lot of my friends play it too. Maybe it's the absolutely banging soundtrack. But whatever the reason, this game clicked with me, and I was willing to put in the time to learn all the wacky mechanics to become, maybe not good at it, but I know how to play it at least. After pouring in more than a few hours, I decided I wanted to make a video on the game, and what better way to talk about it than with my favorite series that's been dormant for almost a year. General thoughts. The premise is simple. I go through the whole roster of the game and give my general thoughts on every character, with two caveats. Firstly, everything here is entirely my opinion. I use this series to talk about cool things that I find interesting in games I like, and it's more or less just a way for me to get my stupid opinions out there for people to see. So don't take anything I say as fact, it's simply what I think in my inexperienced mind. Secondly, there's no single topic I'm gonna stick to with each section. I could talk about someone's gameplay, then someone else's design, then somebody's theme song, and then something totally unrelated. It's just things I want to talk about vaguely relating to the character, and that can be anything. Now that the rules are established, let's get right into
rock hard. Badguy.
This is a fantastic way to start off the video, because I have actually no idea what to say about Soul. I don't really play him, I don't really have any strong thoughts about fighting him, he's kinda just there. If there's one thing I love about Soul though, it's this exact move. Not Gunflame, but the fake out version of it. I'm sure it has some practical use for buffering or mix-ups, but like, it's just so funny. I basically think of it as an extra taunt for the guy. Having a quick and easy way to have Soul shout at the top of his lungs in a way that's not only louder, but also much faster than any of his actual taunts is great. Whenever I do play Soul, I'm undoubtedly throwing these out for half the match. Now is also a good time to bring up the HUD I use. I really hate how boring Strive's HUD is compared to the rest of the game's style. I think they drastically clash. So I have a HUD that I use that makes it resemble earlier games in the series. The one problem is the creator hasn't updated since the release of A.B.A, which means that her keybar isn't there. More notably, however, due to the lack of updates, every character is apparently Soul Badguy for reasons I can't even begin to fathom. So if you see this idiot looking at you from the corner for the rest of the video, that's why.
Kiske.
Good old anime sword boys. Smash Bros or not, you just can't escape them. Despite being the second most important character, and being in basically all of the art for the game, I often struggle to remember Kai exists. He's a pretty good, pretty fun character with a kind of generic design, but in this roster, that means he kind of just fades into the background. The thing is, I like playing Kai. Every time I accidentally end up on him in the character select screen, I have a lot of fun with him. He's pretty simple, his inputs are easy to remember, he's versatile, he's just solid. And every time I play him, I think to myself, this guy's cool, I gotta play him more. And then as soon as I switch characters, I've already forgotten about him again. It's like the guy doesn't have any object permanence in my mind. As soon as he's off the screen, he just doesn't exist.
Mei.
Mei's a really good second character to tackle, since she's a good way to start talking about my old enemy, command inputs. I hate command inputs. I get that they're an integral part to fighting games and all that, and they're pretty satisfying to pull off, I guess, but when these things don't work because I tilt the stick a little bit too far up or whatever, it feels miserable. Because of this, I tend to prefer characters with simpler inputs, i.e. quarter circles, and avoid those with more complicated ones, most notably Z's and the dreaded charge inputs, and that's where this pirate comes in. Charge inputs are weird. I can never input them consistently. I think it's because I tend to tilt the joystick up or down a bit too much. So whenever I play Mei and try doing something funny with a dolphin, half the time I'll just be standing around like a moron swinging my anchor at nothing. That said, when I do get Mei to work, either by charging correctly or just ignoring that running and blazing, she's a lot of fun. She hits super hard, has some nice combo games, and has some really fun movement options. Not to mention she has some very generous hitboxes. Pair that with a solid design and a funny personality, they've got a pretty nice character I play decently frequently, though I really wish she didn't rely so much on stupid charge inputs.
Axl Low.
In a game full of annoying characters to fight, Axl's a solid contender for the most annoying of all. His super long range neural attacks makes it almost impossible to approach him, and makes some matchups basically unwinnable. It's easy to get frustrated with the guy, and I often do. But as much as he annoys me, I can't help but love Axl. He's so much fun to play, not only because of his frankly ridiculous zoning potential, but because of all the other weird tools mixed into his kit. Why is the dedicated zoner of a fantastic uppercut, massive wall of combo starter, full screen command grab, and the ability to stop time? I don't know, but it means he can pull off some pretty crazy stuff as him. One of my friends who actually plays fighting games mains Axl, and seeing how he uses all the character's weird strengths to make a zoning rushdown hybrid who can kill you from a single hit is super impressive and scary.
Chipp Zanuff.
I don't even know where to start with Chipp. I'm not great at him. He's a character who's really punishing to not be great at. I can pull off a swanky combo every now and then, and it feels good when it happens, but it's not the main reason I play him. This guy is hilarious. His taunts are funny, his voice lines are funny, losing half your health for a misplay is pretty funny, his backstory, past a certain point, is funny. But nothing comes close to his victory quotes. Oh man. Winning against Chipp can be hard. He dies fast and he doesn't do the most damage, so any match becomes an exhilarating game of survival while trying to take advantage of any opportunity you can. If you're able to play well enough and best your opponent, you're rewarded with the camera zooming in on Chipp's face so he can take off his mask, look at his opponent grounded in defeat, and say to them,
Go be a ninja!
I love this guy so much.
Potemkin.
Smash Bros. Doesn't really have a traditional grappler. It has some characters who sort of fill that role, but no clear, dedicated grappler, so I didn't get to try out the archetype until I picked up Guild Gear. Potemkin was actually one of the main reasons I got into the game. The idea of a huge lumbering lad who can knock out half your health with a single command grab seemed hilarious to me. It is just as funny in practice. I really like playing slow but strong characters. They feel very rewarding to get right. So Potemkin, even with all his complicated inputs that'd normally be a huge turnoff for me, manages to be one of my favorites. He just feels really good to use well. His unorthodox mobility, satisfying moves, and very rewarding predictions make every match playing him feel like you have to solve a puzzle of what the enemy's going to do and how to respond to it, which is ironic given the stereotypes of Potemkin players. Potemkin is one of my secondaries, and with good reason. He has a really fun playstyle that suits me well, and if I'm ever in a bad mood, laying a few spine-crushing grabs is exactly what I need to put a smile on my face.
Faust.
If you have seen any of my videos on basically any other game, you know what kind of characters I prefer to play. I love RNG characters. I like weird, unorthodox playstyles. I gravitate towards low tiers. I absolutely love weird and bizarre characters. And, for some reason, I really like playing as doctors. If you haven't seen any of my other videos, hi, I'm Starman. I main Faust. Faust just has every different style I like playing with all in one character. He's got zoning options, awesome combo potential, a rewarding command grab, and of course, the item toss. Everything in Faust's kit works in this unorthodox synergy that feels really fun to get right. Every item you can pull out feels like it changes how you play the game, which makes every match with him feel unique and different, which is the same itch that gets scratched when you play Hero. On top of his unique gameplay, his design is also top notch. He already looks kinda weird and creepy by default, but the way he's animated makes him look like a husk that's barely being held together. It makes sense with his story, but more importantly, it makes him really fun to watch. And on top of everything else, his theme song is one of, if not the best song in the game. Literally everything about Faust is just perfect. There are a lot of characters I like playing this game, but none of them have every aspect aligned quite as well as Faust. He is truly the perfect character for me. I can't see myself meeting anybody else.
Millia Rage.
On the subject of the soundtrack, I think Love the Subhuman Self is a touch overrated. While the song is very solid, I believe it peaks in the first 20 seconds before the vocals kick in, and then never really gets to that same high, and honestly doesn't even come close. The part with the drums and the synth is the best part of the song, and is a total bop. Because of an extra 5 minutes attached that aren't nearly as good, it ends up not being one of my favorites. I'd say it's around the middle of a ranking of songs. That still makes it a fantastic track, because even the worst songs in the soundtrack are bangers. But one of the best in the game?
Zato 1.
Zato is a character who I really want to be good at. I like practically everything about him. His theme song, his design, his gameplay, this funny guy, the whole package. The problem is that he's a bona fide finger breaker who would have to dedicate half my life to learning reasonably well. I still like playing him a lot though, so he'll probably eternally stick as a character who I play with against my friends but never in the tower.
Ramlethal Valentine.
Now we go from the hardest character in the game to play to exactly the opposite. If you hand a controller to a rock, it'd probably be able to beat you with Ramlethal. Ramlethal is a character I have very mixed feelings about. On one hand, her design and theme song are among the best in the game. Seriously, the last part of Necessary Discrepancy is one of the best parts of the entire soundtrack, hands down. A lot of her animations are really fun to look at. Specifically, any of them that use her cloak things are really funny. And they get to her gameplay and oh boy. Ramlethal doesn't feel bad to play, and in fact has the opposite problem. Ramlethal is kind of just too easy to play. You input these 3 moves and you win. Her moves outrange and outdamage most other characters' basic attacks. She has easy tools to start combos on you, like that stupid ass rock move that I hate. And once she gets you in a combo, it's already curtains. And it's not like K. Rool or something, where he's easy to play and annoying, but is kept in check by being bad. Quite the opposite. Ramlethal's a solid contender for the best character in the game at present. Ramlethal is really fun to play for all these reasons, and is a character who I really do like in every sense, but I also dread fighting against her for these same reasons.
Leo Whitefang.
Leo is a character built around charged inputs and a stance that requires special inputs to enter. You have to learn 2 different sets of weird inputs to get anywhere with this guy, and I don't want to do that.
Nagoryuki.
We are in a really bad stretch, huh? The one character I loathe fighting more than Ramlethal is our samurai friend here, Nagoryuki. Nagoryuki feels like the ultimate try-hard character. He's easy to play and is very rewarding to learn basic combos with. Yeah, Blood Range's mechanic that allegedly makes him hard to play, but I don't know. A lot of Nagoryuki's I fight just end up killing me before that even comes close to being a problem. My main gripe with this idiot is that he's just everywhere. Every time I go to a tower, there's always at least a few of them hanging out, ready to mash slash at poor Faust until he needs a doctor of his own. It just becomes really repetitive after a while. Are any of these complaints valid? Probably not, but I really just wanted to vent to my own blood rage about this dumbass vampire. And while on the subject, Crawl is extremely overrated. It's seriously a bottom 5 song, I don't get what the appeal is.
Giovanna.
Giovanna's design confuses me. Most of it is pretty solid. From the waist up, Gio looks really good. I like that the story explains why her shirt is unbuttoned in a really fun and characteristic way. But the bottom half is kinda weird. These pants. Look at these pants. They are huge. They bring up so many questions. Why is she wearing them? Do they provide good ventilation? Will they get in the way of her fighting, especially considering half her attacks are kicks? Are bell bombs popular again in 2100? God, I hope not. Going further down, she's wearing some pseudo heel things that, again, probably interfere with combat mobility, and apparently shoe buckles will make a comeback in the next century. But the thing that really baffles me is on her dog. Why is the recycling symbol on her head? Is Ray a big environmentalist? Does it have something to do with her backstory? If she took some moves from a past character, that'd be a really fun reason for that to be there. But as far as I can tell, all her moves are original. What a bizarre girl.
Anji Mito.
Aside from maybe Potemkin, Anji's gotta be the most hype character in the game. Like, sure, Potemkin's got... And... Yeah, those are all cool. But I mean, it's tough to compete with someone who has... And... Strive has fantastic presentation overall, but there are some parts of the game that I think really go against its whole aesthetic. I've already talked about the extremely bland default HUD, and the victory music is another thing I don't like. The whole match is filled with super fast paced moves with some banging rock music in the back and some beefy sound effects backing everything up. Then you win, the slanted lines come in to indicate your victory, whilst your character strikes their pose, and spare the slow and methodical music that clashes with everything. It sounds like music that would play when you finish a quest in an RPG, not when you win in a fighting game. Luckily, mods got me covered again. There are hundreds of different options for the victory theme replacement, but if you ask me, the best one replaces it with the Exard insta-kill song. Not only does it still fit being a Guilty Gear song, but it just sounds much better. It's fast, it's exciting, it keeps the pace of the match going, and somehow syncs up perfectly with more than a few characters' victory animations. Now, you may be thinking, geez Starman, that's cool and all, but what does that have to do with Ino? Well, my friend, she plays music, so it's kinda related. Yeah, I don't really have any opinions on Ino. Her hat's really cool though.
Goldlewis Dickinson.
Goldlewis is a character I didn't think I would like. As stated earlier, I don't like complex motion inputs, and this guy, well, he's got a few of those. But much to my surprise, he became my favorite character in Pass 1, by far. I'm not saying I'm particularly good as him, since I constantly misinput Behemoth Typhoons and end up looking like an idiot, but when I manage to do something right as him, it feels great. Doubly so if it means I win, because this guy's victory screen is hilarious. On that note, I love Goldlewis's character. He manages to strike a very fine line of being a badass, but also genuinely funny. A lot of his battle quotes always get a chuckle out of me, with notable examples being,
Haven't had this much fun in a spell. Shit.
and my absolute favorite.
Jacko.
You have a character in a game that you really want to like. For me, that character is Jacko. I love almost everything about Jacko. Her personality is fun. Her design is both cool and hot. Her mask is awesome and goofy. Can you believe there are people who prefer it without it? Her quotes are,
Funny Halloween!
well, they're really something. Her theme song is a jam. She's themed after the best holiday. She's amazing. But actually playing her is a different story. I hate how Jacko plays. And I hate that I hate how Jacko plays. She feels very clunky. Like you have to pull out a minion, put down the minion, kick the minion, and then mash the hell out of that attack command. As someone who hates motion inputs and manages to botch even the simplest of them, she's a nightmare. Pair that with losing all your mains and pressure upon being hit, and a meter to even get the guys out, and she's just not for me. It's strange, since I generally like characters who have to play games within games, as we'll see with a similar character coming up. But something about Jacko just doesn't mesh with me.
Chaos.
I had this huge section about how much I hate Chaos. I could never figure out how he worked, so I felt like this obtuse character who pulls out a gun seemingly at random and has a lot of weird mechanics and bars to keep track of. But while recording footage for him, something just clicked. And all of a sudden I realized how he worked, and much to my surprise, he was a lot of fun. I'm still nowhere near good at him, but now that I can play a few matches with him without getting frustrated enough to bite my controller in half, I'm willing to put in the time to learn a few tricks.
Baiken.
Baiken probably plays a big part of my memory loss of Kiske. Why would I want to play as the stock-ass anime sword boy who looks like a generic enemy from Fire Emblem, when I could be playing as the sick, gnarly, one-armed, one-eyed samurai with a plethora of weapons up her sleeve? All her inputs are simple, she has a versatile kit, her normal moves have long range, she literally stole this move from him, like why would I ever bother with Kai over here? That's not even mentioning the really weird unique things Baiken has, the rope of inescapable combos, an easily moddable giant flying hitbox, and a goddamn parry. Talk about a character who has it all. I gotta play Baiken more.
Testament.
I've been told that Testaments are rather uncommon online. They have a slow and repetitive playstyle that isn't the most interesting, and aren't nearly as flashy as someone like Solar and Nagoryuki. I don't know why I've been told this, because I see them everywhere. On the rare occasions when I do go to the tower, I almost always find at least one of them. I've seen upwards of 5 at once. It's always disappointing too, because they aren't fun to fight. Crazy as it sounds, fighting a zoner who has complete control over half the screen and peppers you to death with tiny projectiles isn't my idea of a good time. That said, I do play primarily Faust in tower, and it is really fun to scarecrow behind a cocky Testament and completely disrupt their setup. When playing anyone else, fighting Testament is rarely a good time.
Bridget.
Writing this section for Bridget was difficult. Not because I couldn't think of anything to say, but because of the exact opposite. There are about a dozen different things I could say about Bridget. I could easily fill a section talking about any of them, but to select just one, the thing that I associate Bridget with is the modding community. Guilty Gear mods are strange and wonderful things. I've talked about a few of them before, but Bridget is a character I've just started associating with them. Being one of the most popular characters in the game naturally means you get some of the most mods, and Bridget's especially are just phenomenally high quality. There are tons of mods that completely alter her appearance. You can take off her hood, redo her hair, put her in a jersey, restore her to her OG outfit from the older games, or give her a color scheme reminiscent of any number of different characters, popular or niche. But the combination of all of these means it's not only possible, but super easy to combine all sorts of mods to sort of build your own Bridget. It's like a dress-up game, but entirely made by the community, and I think that's awesome. The developers make a character the community loves, and they give back by making all sorts of fantastic mods for the character. It's a sweet cause and effect thing, and makes her more enticing to play once you've got a set of mods you like together, like I've got here. Like I said, this isn't exclusive to Bridget, far from it, but I think she is by far the best example of it. She's a fan favorite, and one look at what the fans made will prove that. Sin is legitimately the only character that every one of my friends can share an opinion on. He's annoying. I can't blame them for thinking that. He's a terrifying rushdown character who does huge damage and has lots of mix-ups. He's fast, powerful, and top tier. Sprinkle on a cocky attitude from the ever-growing boy, and it's not hard to hate him. But despite the wishes of all my chums, I can't hate him. Quite the opposite, actually. I love Sin. He's another character who managed to get everything just right for me to enjoy him. His gameplay is fast, which is a nice change of pace from the slower characters I tend to play. His signature flag is not only a really creative idea for a weapon, not only really well animated and fun to look at, but is apparently super easy to mod, and can be easily customized into some funny texture. His design is really fun, and matches his cocky young personality well, as he's totally the type to buy a ton of bargain bin Nike clothes. On a related note, Sin's a really funny character. Being only 5 years old, Sin is a man-child in the most literal sense of the word. He's new to the world and still understanding it, which sometimes means that he's curious about learning something, and other times is an oblivious idiot, both of which are fun to watch. And if everything else wasn't enough, he also sports one of the best theme songs in the game. Sin's a character I enjoy every aspect of and really want to play more for various reasons, but rarely do, because I'm always asked to switch off after one game. A bit sad, but very understandable.
Bedman.
Bedman's another character who I want to like a lot more than I actually do. Bedman is awesome. The design of the destroyed bed is amazing and creepy, and I really like the idea of a companion to a fighter who doesn't actually participate in the battle. But as great as the design of the funny furniture is, Bedman's just not a character I enjoy playing that much. It feels clunky and weird, which I guess is to be expected by playing a literal piece of furniture, but regardless. Bedman's got simple inputs, strong moves, and a fun mechanic in the form of errors, but is very frustrating to play in practice. It feels like you have to play it perfectly, else get hit once, lose your error, and end up on the receiving end of a massive combo. When Bedman works right, it's an extraordinarily threatening and fun character to play, but when it doesn't, it feels terrible. That does fit with the state of the bed, I guess, but regardless. I also managed to mess up quarter circles playing Bedman more than anyone else, and I don't know why. Finally, I distinctly remember one time when I won a game as Bedman, and my opponent said that he lost because he kept getting distracted by Delilah running around the screen like a maniac. It's things like this that keep me coming back to this character, despite its flaws.
Asuka R.
Tell me if this sounds at all familiar to you. A short dude in a fighting game who's built around a unique spell casting mechanic. He has a magic bar he has to keep a close eye on, as having it puts him at a huge advantage, but if he runs out, he's basically already lost. He can use his magic bar to cast a wide variety of spells, 4 of which are randomly selected at a time. Some of these spells are ridiculously strong, and can get the spellcaster some wins that he really didn't deserve. Yeah, Asuka's the main reason he got past 2. I saw similarities to my favorite Smash character, and knew he had to be mine. And I definitely made a good choice doing so. I know I wrote a huge section about how great Faust is, and how he's my main, but Asuka might just give him a run for his money. What can I say? He's got everything I love in one neat little package. The main thing he has over Faust is his intense resource management. I talked about this briefly in Jacko's section, but I really like characters who have to play games within games. You have to split your attention between fighting an opponent and keeping your MP and cards fully stocked. And unlike Jacko, it feels very rewarding to do so successfully. Asuka has access to the largest health pool, the strongest moves, and the craziest zoning, but only if you manage your MP. Learning to do so, and winning a game using all the tools in this kit is immensely satisfying. It makes me question if it may be an Asuka main at heart. There are a few other little things that help me gravitate towards Asuka more. Obviously, he's an RNG character, which may be a turn off to some, but makes every game with him feel unique and interesting. Asuka games also tend to go on for a while. He spends a good part of the match away from his opponent, so you gotta be pretty patient. I'm fine with playing the long game, and Guilty Gear especially. That's just an excuse to keep one of the long songs with a great ending, like everyone's favorite, Necessary Discrepancy. And of course, the usual goodies. Great theme song, awesome aesthetics, and super simple inputs. It's hard to determine who I like more between Asuka and Faust. They're both super unique characters who exemplify everything you look for in competitive games, just in their own special way. I couldn't find the other announced voice lines, but next is Johnny! Talking about the past 3 characters is going to be difficult, since they don't actually have past 3. I can't say how much I like playing them, so I'll have to talk about fighting them or some weird out of left field topic. Johnny's definitely gonna fall into that second category, because I have to talk about how cool Johnny is. When ArcSys made this guy way back when, they chose to give him all the traits of an awesome rebel outlaw, and he hasn't changed a bit over 20 years. He's got shades, he's got a big hat, he doesn't wear a shirt, he gambles, he's a pirate, he has a comically large belt, he's a samurai, he has that twang at the start of a match, and he literally travels around the world on a flying ship to collect girls to travel with him. Johnny's like a character you'd make up when you were in grade school to be the coolest dude ever, except he's a fully fleshed out real character in this fighting game, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Elphelt Valentine. Yeah, scrap everything I said about fighting Ramlethal, Testament, and Nagoryuki. Elphelt is, without a shred of doubt, the most frustrating character to fight. Elphelt has this fun ability to keep you in a block string for an unreasonable amount of time. Once she starts that stupid jumpy move, you may as well put down your controller, because one select future is already set in stone. If you were blocking, you're gonna be there for the better years of your life. Tape the joystick back and go grab a snack or something, you won't be missing much. But wait, half the time she'll throw in a 50-50, or you have to guess right, or you'll get knocked out of your blocking and right into a guaranteed wall break. And if you guess correctly, congratulations, now you can keep blocking until you have burst. And if you weren't blocking when the jump train started, you can still put down the controller because she's already won the match. Fortunately, she can only get stuck in these if she gets close to you, so she should be able to be spaced out, right? A clear weakness on a character who exceeds in certain situations. Sounds balanced. No. How's about we give her this massive, spammable, and homing projectile that comes out faster than any zoner's zoning tools. Oh, and also, it's a 50-50. Yeah, it's color-coded, but if you take the time to associate the color with the projectile properties, you're getting hit. I don't like Elphelt. I don't like Elphelt mains, and I wish they would leave me alone so I can stop hearing extras in my nightmares. Actually, I really like that song, so maybe it isn't so bad. A.B.A. A.B.A's another character who I really don't like fighting. A.B.A's a character you have to play damn near perfectly against. You had better become a master of predicting which way you should block, because if you botch it once, it's command grab time, and once she gets that off, it's already over. It takes one more wrong guess once she's locked in to start a massive combo that's guaranteed to break the wall, if not outright win. Now if you play zoners, you can outspace her so she can't get that command grab off, and it's a really easy win. But like, come on, who plays cheesy characters like that? Slayer. You remember 2 whole characters ago when I talked about how Johnny is undoubtedly the coolest guy ever conceived? Well, Slayer might just be able to give him some competition. Let's go down the checklist. He's a vampire, he's a gentleman, he's a loving husband and has been for centuries. He's a former assassin, his hair looks like this, and for some reason every single pose he strikes goes ridiculously hard. And if you still don't believe me, this guy can make poetry look cool. If that's not impressive, I don't know what is. But at the same time, he also continues the pattern of past 3 characters being utter hell to fight, and this move pisses me off like no other. So Johnny gets to hold his throne. For now, at least. I don't like fighting games. I made that clear at the start of this video, and it's something I still stand by. But Guilty Gear is something that manages to bypass my dislike of the genre and thoroughly enjoy it. These characters are extremely versatile. No 2 of them are alike at all, and I'm really pumped out to see what the next DLC characters look like. I might come back and give my thoughts on them in a future video, but for now, we're up to date. This cast is really something. It's got plenty of lows, but even more highs. Trying out every character to make this video made me realize how many more there I need to play. I tend to just stick with a few I already know, but there are tons of characters who I played for the first time in a while for this video that I loved and have to come back to. And when I get down to it, that's what this series is about. Not only does it let me share my stupid opinions, it lets me discover my stupid opinions, and I think that's kinda neat. So, in conclusion, characters with one eye are fucking awesome. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Deuces.